It was a quiet night in the small town of Maplewood. The streets were empty, the air was heavy, and the sound of a ticking clock echoed through the neighborhood. In a small house on the edge of town, a woman named Elena Parker sat alone, sipping her tea and staring at the soft glow of a desk lamp. She was known around town as the quiet lady, the kind who kept to herself, always polite but distant, the kind of person who didn't invite trouble, and yet, trouble had a way of finding her. For weeks, a group of local troublemakers had been targeting people they thought were easy. They filmed pranks, vandalized homes, and terrified the innocent just for online fame. And tonight, their cameras and cruelty were pointed at Elena's door. It was 2 a.m., the hour when fear feels the loudest. The gang of 4 young men crept up her porch, whispering and laughing as one of them raised his boot. With a violent crash, the front door flew open, splintering against the wall. Elena's teacup shattered on the floor as she shot up, startled but eerily calm. The bullies burst in with flashlights and phones, yelling for her to wake up and mocking her small, quiet home. They didn't know who she really was. They didn't know that the silence they were mocking had a reason, a deadly calm that came from years of training and discipline. Elena didn't scream. She didn't panic. She simply stepped out from the shadows, her voice firm and cold. "You just made a very big mistake." Her words froze the laughter for a second, but then one of the boys snickered, "Oh yeah. What are you gonna do, Grandma?" Elena didn't answer. She turned toward the closet near the door, opened it slowly, and reached inside. For a moment, the boys thought she was grabbing a weapon. They tensed, but what she pulled out made their hearts stop completely. It was a black FBI tactical jacket, the bold yellow letters shining in the dim light. The room fell silent. One of them whispered, "No way, she's FBI." But before they could move, Elena dropped the jacket on the table and calmly said, "You've just broken into federal property. Congratulations, you're about to meet my world." Suddenly, her demeanor changed. The quiet woman was gone, replaced by Special Agent Elena Parker, a veteran investigator who had dismantled criminal networks and rescued hostages in her career. The fear that once lived in her eyes was gone, in its place was authority, controlled, precise, unstoppable. The bullies froze, their faces pale as she pulled out her phone, dialing with steady fingers. "Yes, this is Agent Parker," she said in a voice that made their stomachs twist. "I need immediate units at my address. For intruders, caught in the act." Panic spread among them like wildfire. They tried to stammer excuses, saying it was a prank, that they didn't mean it. But Elena's expression didn't soften. "Breaking and entering isn't a prank," she said coldly. "It's a federal offense." Within minutes, the sound of approaching sirens filled the night. Red and blue lights painted the walls as police cars screeched to a stop outside. The boys dropped to their knees, terrified. Elena stood over them with quiet authority, arms folded, eyes steady. When the officers entered, she simply nodded toward the intruders. "Take them," she said. As they were handcuffed, one of them looked up at her and whispered, "Why didn't you stop us sooner?" Elena looked at him, not with anger, but with something deeper. "Because I wanted you to see who you really are when you think no one's watching," she said softly. "Now you'll remember this night for the rest of your life." As the officers led them out, the cameras they used for pranks lay shattered on the floor, symbols of how far they'd fallen chasing attention. The quiet house was still again. Elena sat down, picked up the broken pieces of her teacup, and whispered, "Silence is strength." Then, as she turned off the light, her reflection in the window showed not a victim, but a warrior who knew that sometimes the loudest message is delivered without raising your voice. The next morning, sunlight spilled over the neighborhood as the news spread like wildfire, 4 young men arrested for breaking into the home of an FBI agent. Social media buzzed, neighbors whispered, and everyone who had underestimated the quiet woman now saw her differently. But for Elena Parker, the real story wasn't about revenge, it was about redemption. She didn't take pride in humiliating them, instead, she saw lost potential, young lives thrown away for likes and views. When the local police asked if she wanted to press full federal charges, Elena thought long and hard. Her instinct as an agent said yes, but her heart, the one that had seen too many broken people, whispered no. Instead, she requested to meet them, under supervision, at the juvenile facility where they were being held. When she walked into the room, they couldn't meet her eyes. The boys who once laughed now looked like frightened children. Elena placed her badge on the table and spoke quietly, Do you understand what could have happened last night? You could have been shot. You could have ended your lives for a video that wouldn't even matter in a week. One of them, trembling, whispered, "We didn't know, ma'am, we just wanted to go viral." Her voice softened. "I know. But chasing attention will never fill the emptiness inside you. You need purpose, not fame." She told them about the people she'd met, kids who'd gone from crime to courage, who turned their lives around because someone gave them a second chance. The room stayed silent as she continued, "You're lucky. You broke into the wrong house, yes, but maybe, just maybe, it was the right lesson." The boys nodded, tears glistening in their eyes. The encounter changed them in ways no punishment could. A few months later, community service became their new reality. They worked cleaning parks, helping elders, and visiting youth centers, and everywhere they went, Elena's name was whispered with a mix of awe and respect. She didn't need to be thanked, seeing them rebuild their lives was enough. One day, one of them, the same boy who kicked her door, approached her at a local event. "Agent Parker," he said nervously, "I just wanted to thank you for not giving up on us." She smiled gently. "Don't thank me. Just keep becoming someone better than you were that night." And from that day forward, they did. The viral fame they once craved was replaced by something far greater: dignity, growth, and the quiet strength of doing good. That night, Elena sat by her window again, sipping tea in the peace she'd always cherished. The town outside was calm, the stars above unshaken. She thought about how fear had turned into respect, how chaos had become change. She smiled faintly and whispered, "Sometimes, silence teaches louder than punishment." Her phone buzzed, messages of gratitude, people inspired by her story, and viewers across the world leaving comments like, "True heroes don't shout, they act." She leaned back, took a deep breath, and let the world know, the quiet ones are never weak, they're just waiting for the right moment to show their strength. So, if this story moved you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Because in this channel, we share stories that remind you, courage isn't about noise or fame. It's about standing firm, staying kind, and fighting darkness with quiet strength. Subscribe now, and be part of a world where stories awaken the hero within you.